Hey neighbor, it's been a while for Fermentation Friday, and for the first of the year, we're going to start working on our vinegar. There's a whole playlist full of vinegar things, but I still get asked lots of questions, so this one is going to be like a compilation of those other videos when we're talking about vinegar. Oftentimes, especially our neighbors that have already started making vinegar, or some of our neighbors that are more scientific, it comes up that this is not apple cider vinegar because we're not actually using the cider. So if you want actual apple cider vinegar, you would have to juice your apples for the cider and then turn that into vinegar. However, this tastes just like apple cider vinegar and it has the same benefits. However, we're just using our scraps. So I have the pulp from the apples. We made apple pie moonshine for the holidays. I have apples from when we did apple butter. So all of those I just thrown into the freezer, and now we're just going to throw them into a glass jar and make our vinegar. Remember too that for every cup of water that goes into your apple scraps, you're going to add a tablespoon of sugar. Now, why we don't mix the sugar prior to in the water and then pour it over the apples is because we're not sure exactly of how much water we're going to be using. We're going to measure our water as it's going in, so that determines how much sugar. So that's why we don't mix it before and it goes in after the water's in, so that the measurements equal together. Also, if you've already made vinegars and you have mothers already present, what I like to do is when I'm starting this vinegar, like this one we're about to start, I'm going to add a little bit of this vinegar that's already done. And this has lots of mothers in it, so it'll have flecks and that type of thing in there. I'm going to add a little bit in here because I want it to start fermenting itself. But when I take it off of the apples and go to bottle it, I'll add more mother to it so that as it matures, it develops better flavor and it's closer to the vinegar that you know and love that's in the store. Okay? Cool. So your apple scraps in your clean, sterilized jar. Boiling water, sterilize your jar. Also, remember it is an anaerobic process, which means it needs oxygen in order to ferment. Okay, so we're not going to close this one off with a top. We're going to use some type of either lightweight breathable fabric, your cheesecloth, anything that the air can get to it. We're covering it so that fruit flies, insects, that type of thing don't make this their home. All right, we got all of our fruit in here. No, I did not thaw all the way. I thawed enough for them to be able to get in here. It doesn't have to be thawed all the way. I'm going to add my water. Yes, we're using warm water, not hot, but warm, because we want all of our bacteria, yeast, all the stuff that's going in there, we want it to be nice and comfortable. Okay, so water in, that was roughly 4 cups. I kind of got a rhythm of things so I know what they look like. Now we're going to add our 4 tablespoons of sugar, and then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of our vinegar as well. So everything is in. Now for the people who are saying that they are getting molds on the top of their vinegars, growing all kind of molds, here's where we get to the good part. Molds are developed because the air is touching your actual fruit. Your fruit needs to stay submerged in the liquid in order to not grow the mold. You may see some flaky white on the top. That's yeast. That's not mold. Your mold, black, pink, orange, fuzzy, green. Okay? So yeast, okay. Mold, not okay. But staying submerged is definitely going to help you stay away from those molds. One of these days, I'm going to spend some money and I'm going to get a weight. I just have not done that yet. In the meantime, you know, we can make our weight with our sandwich bag. Sandwich bag, a little bit of water, in a knot, over top. Mine is completely submerged. I don't want to put a weight in it right now because I don't want it to overflow. If yours is submerged and then you notice in a couple of days that your fruit is starting to rise to the top, put the weight in. Submerged. That's what we need. Then we're going to cover it with our fabric. I like using the jars because you can use a smaller piece of fabric or cheesecloth, and then just put your ring down over your fabric, like if you were closing it, and then it stays nice and on there. And we have our fermenting apple cider vinegar. I'm going to leave it here in the kitchen. We're going to keep an eye on it together so we can go through the process. I know a lot of people were like, oh, I haven't seen the ending process or going through it together. So you're going to monitor it with me. We're going to keep it up here. We're going to keep an eye on it. Make sure everything's okay. Give your vinegar a try. We've done it with strawberries. We've done it with pineapples. We've done it with rice. Got all the vinegars. We did it when we had Pearpalooza, pear vinegar. Now, what do we use them for? For cooking, for medicinal purposes. Do we can with the vinegar that we create? We don't, because I am not pH testing them. But if you do want to use it in your canning, get a pH testing set. And that way, if it's 5% acidity, once you're done making the vinegar, you can can with it. I just haven't. But you can. And that's why we don't can with it if it's under the 5%, okay? Because then it's not as safe as it should be. Also, if you're in for reading about it, The Eternal Condiment is a story on vinegar. Y'all know I like a good book. It's a good read for the history of vinegar, what it was initially used for. I don't get paid for this, but Reggie over at Supreme, where we get our mothers when we can't make them ourselves, this is a book that he wrote. It's really good for your vinegar journey if you're going on your vinegar journey. Okay? All right, first of the year, we're back at it. We got a laundry list of things to create, so get to it. I'm going to talk to your neighbor. Hey, side note, you're going to store in a dark place, kind of warm, not hot. So this is right next to the stove, and when the lights are off, it's really dark in that corner. But if you have a bright kitchen, you may find a cupboard to put it in. Don't forget it, and then come back 2 years later, and it's definitely not gonna be vinegar. It's gonna be gone. Okay, put it in a dark space, dark, warm, for your vinegar to get going. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you.